Well, isn't BYD ahead of the game here?
Cathie Wood was just on Bloomberg television and compared BYD to Tesla. Let's take a look at what she said.
In our flagship strategy, which is ARKK, Tesla is our largest holding. But if you look at ARKQ, our autonomous technology and robotics strategy, we also own other names like BYD in China and XPeng. And a little Neo as well.
Here's the fund that Cathie is talking about. And you could say you should diversify because this fund dropped 59% while Tesla dropped 70%. So this is better. Although now both Tesla and this fund are roughly the same. But then you look at the last 5 years, Tesla is up 780%, while this fund is only up 40%. So I am very happy to how only Tesla is stocking my stock portfolio. I think Tesla is going to crush all other EV companies. So well, there are going to be some that will be not terrible, but not as good as Tesla is what I believe.
Now, why do we think EVs are the place to be? Well, we are analyzing battery technology, but more important, drivetrain technology, which includes batteries. And if you look at the cost curves associated with drivetrains, what you'll see is that for every cumulative doubling in the number of electric vehicles produced and sold, costs decline by roughly 28%. And it seems as though already the total cost of ownership of an electric vehicle is lower than that of a gas-powered vehicle, which means which helps us understand why last year electric vehicle sales globally were up, I believe it was 62 or 64%, while gas-powered vehicles were down about 7% globally.
Look at this data. Gas-powered vehicles shrink, EVs grow. Shrink, grow. Shrink, grow. This is the only exception. In 2021, gas-powered vehicles grew by 1.7%, but EVs exploded by 112%. And when she says that the costs drop by 28% per year, she's talking about the Wright's Law. Pause this if you like to read.
So the electric vehicle shift is underway. Consumers want electric vehicles, a total cost of ownership cheaper. So last year, there were 7.7 million electric vehicles sold around the world. We think that number is going to 60 million in the next 5 years. Now, the consensus estimate is that it's going to only 20 million. So there's still a big gap between where we are and where the consensus view is. That 60 million, we believe, will account for 75% roughly of all vehicles sold in 5 years.
It's absolutely embarrassing how ignorant Wall Street is. What Wall Street does is they look at the past and they see that EVs used to be very expensive. More expensive than any other equivalent gas car. But check this out. Tesla Model 3 is now below the average new vehicle price. And there are other EVs now with a range of 300 miles or more that you can get in the US. And look back to 2020, there was only Tesla. And then 2021, you had Ford Mach-E, and now you have more options. The main reason why people are not buying EVs is because they compare a gasoline-powered vehicle to an EV, and the sticker price of a gasoline-powered vehicle is lower. But that is now changing with a $7,500 EV credit, and Tesla dropping prices, which will force everyone else to drop their prices, or they're going to go out of business. And if you just look at this graph right here, Wall Street does not understand exponentials. I mean, it is very simple to understand. The EV adoption is going to be mind-bogglingly fast.
Many people focused on Asia say, wait a minute, BYD is winning here. And if you look at last year's sales, BYD's sales, if you look at hybrids and battery electric vehicles, they were up 211% to roughly 1.8 million units. whereas Tesla's vehicle sales were only up 40%. And so the question from Asia is, well, isn't BYD ahead of the game here? You might say yes, based on those statistics. But if you take out hybrid vehicles, and we think hybrid is going away. Hybrid is two systems in one, much more complicated, much more costly.
I fully agree with Cathie there. The hybrid vehicles are going away.
And you look on that basis, BYD's pure battery electric vehicle sales last year were 900,000, whereas Tesla's were 1.4 million around the world.
Comparing just the number of deliveries of these two companies is such a flawed way to compare them. A better way is to compare revenues, and that still has many flaws. But BYD generated 420 billion yuan in revenue in 2022, which is roughly $60 billion. So naturally, you would expect Tesla to generate a lot less revenue, maybe a little bit over $40 billion. But no, Tesla generated 81.5, which is a lot more than how much BYD generated. Tesla delivered less vehicles and still made a whole bunch more revenue. But even more importantly is the profit. BYD generated about $2.5 billion in profit, and Tesla generated 5 times more. This is not even close. While it is impressive how fast BYD scaled, BYD, when we look at the profit here, is embarrassingly behind Tesla.
But electric is not the whole story here. In fact, from our point of view, when it comes to Tesla, their autonomous strategy, autonomous taxi platforms, is much more important than their electric vehicle strategy. In our view, our $1,500 price target for Tesla, it's a little over $200 now, but our $1,500 price target in 5 years is 2/3 because of autonomous.
By the way, Archimedes does not model energy storage in any meaningful way for Tesla, which long-term, I believe, is going to be a mistake.
And when we listen to BYD, we do not hear autonomous as a strategy. We hear it more with XPeng, but again, they, from a unit volume point of view, are far behind BYD and Tesla. So that's how we're looking at the world right now. I think when you're talking about electric vehicles, you're not talking just about the drivetrain strategies. I think the companies that are going to win, as I mentioned before, are not focused only on electric. They're focused on autonomous, which means they are focused on 3 of our major innovation platforms. First, robotics. Autonomous vehicles are robots.
And that is one reason why Tesla has an advantage to develop a good first humanoid robot that is actually useful, because Tesla will have millions of cars on the road, millions of robots on the road. And that data that Tesla is generating from all these vehicles will be used to create software that powers the humanoid robot that can navigate the world.
Second, energy storage. They will be electric because the total cost of ownership now for vehicles is lower for electric than gas powered.
Oh, and you just wait until this happens. At the same time right now, as EVs become cheaper because there are more of them, the economies of scale for gas powered vehicles are going away, which makes the price go up. So we have this double whammy that the auto industry is experiencing. And of course, Wall Street is completely ignoring it for the most part.
And 3, artificial intelligence. So these are 3 major platforms. Artificial intelligence will power these autonomous electric vehicles. And we believe that Tesla, from a thought leadership point of view, is leading the charge.
And shocking the industry, which they may do again on March 1st. I'm keeping my expectations low, but that is a possibility.
If you look at the range and performance of those vehicles, there's no comparison to a Tesla Model 3. The range is very limited. The power is very limited. So you really do have to adjust when you're talking about price for range and performance, which is what we do. And I do believe that Tesla has, for a given price, the best range and performance of any car on the market today.
There's this video that is littered with some of the most interesting facts that you will see. For example, that a Bolt EV from Chevy is better somehow because the Model 3 is worse when you adjust for everything, I guess. In 2022, Chevy delivered 38,000 Bolts. And one might say, oh, okay, that's because they just launched their vehicle. Tesla launched its Model 3. When did they launch the Model 3? In 2017. And when we combine the sales of a Model 3 and a Model Y, we get 1.2 million vehicles. So yeah, Model 3 launched in 2017. And, wait, I'm looking at Chevy Bolt here. Both of them launched in 2017. This vehicle is so poorly made that there's this article on December 20th. GM recalls Chevrolet Bolt electric cars in Canada due to seatbelt fire risk? That just sounds weird. How can a seatbelt cause a fire? I don't know, but GM somehow figured out how to do it. The vehicle was also officially recalled because the vehicle's batteries may catch fire. And now we are learning that the seatbelt somehow, the pre-tensioner in a crash, I guess, may cause fire as well. But really, this one is the bad one. So this car is just littered with terrible fire risks all over. I would not touch that car myself.
That we're not just talking about battery technology, drivetrains, when we're talking about autonomous. We're talking, as I mentioned before, about robots, energy storage, artificial intelligence, and we're talking about software as a service. So over-the-air software updates. I bought my first Model 3 in 2018. I have never taken it in for service. I have never been to any station. I don't have to go to a gas station. So think about that, how much in the way of costs and convenience I have been saved over these last 5 years. The most important variable, we believe, in this new AI age is proprietary data. And I think if we're looking for killer apps, a lot of people are trying to compare this to the early days of the internet. And we didn't know during the early days of the internet that it was the apps on top of the internet that were going to garner all of the economics, the social networks, of course. And today, what we believe people are missing is that the big winners are going to be those companies that not only have the right AI expertise, but also have the right domain expertise. If you talk about life sciences and multiomics, DNA, RNA, proteins, methylation, you've got to have domain expertise and understand that. But even beyond that, you have to have your own data.
I made a video summarizing one of the interviews that AI expert James did, and he said Tesla is 100 times ahead probably when it comes to full self-driving and AI and data. If data is important, Tesla is 100 times ahead, and he said maybe even 1,000 times ahead. The second place is so far behind that, like Elon Musk said, you would not even see them with a telescope.
So we think that AI is going to cause one of the most profound productivity increases in the history of the world.
I 100% agree with that statement. Full self-driving is going to be a part of that as well, of course.
And so you have to, as you're looking at investing, you must look at companies and how they're harnessing AI to lower their cost structures. That's the first killer app. And then other companies that have proprietary data, like Tesla, we'll go back to Tesla. It has collected over the last 5 to 7 years, the highest number of real world driving miles in the world. In fact, it has probably collected more miles by an order of magnitude than all of the other auto and tech companies around the world. And that's why we think it is in the pole position to develop and win at the autonomous taxi platform strategy. The first company to get from point A to point B most safely and quickly is probably going to win. So we're looking at a lot of winner take most opportunities in this new AI world. And the winner take most, as I mentioned before, is based on bringing in the right AI expertise, the right domain expertise for your own businesses, and the highest quality and biggest pools of data upon which to train AI.
Facts. And this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.